Good afternoon, pharmacy mavens. My name is Glenn Guilfoyle and I'm the principal at the Next Level, and welcome to www.salessystem.com.au, and indeed welcome to this second in our series of monthly bulletins where we're going to string together a range of topics and discussion points that would all come under the broad theme of tackling the industry pressures that we're all feeling at the moment by reinventing the service model at the dispensary towards a high council, high solution sale, forward-oriented model. Now, last month when we kicked off this series, we looked into data that we've been collecting at the Next Level over the last 3 years by virtue of going into some 120 odd community-based medium to large size retail pharmacies and doing our work by observation, observing and scoring a whole range of elements across the workflow of the pharmacy by virtue of the customer's experience as defined by the effectiveness of any engagement that occurs between them and the dispensary team member and the efficiency of the script processing. Now, when we looked into the data last month, we looked at the data from the perspective of the benchmarks and the standards. In other words, the ranges, the averages and the norms across these 30 various elements and therefore 30 metrics that we score when we do our work, that all individually and collectively give us a picture of the health customer's experience by virtue of the effectiveness of the engagement and the efficiency of the script processing. So we looked at those standards and looked at what they told us in terms of the industry, if we use this sample as a good cross-section of the industry, and we were able to see where as an industry we perform well, where we don't perform well, and for an individual pharmacy, where are the opportunities to be able to distinguish and differentiate. So today I'd like to go back to the data and take a deeper dive this time and look at the correlations between what we might call the behavioural elements and behavioural metrics and the commercial elements and metrics. In other words, the commercials relate to the number of items companion or sold add-on to the script or health customer and the value of those items. Now, there's a bit to cover here, and I certainly don't want to get bogged down in the statistical side of things. I really want to draw out the main messages, again, under the broad theme of reinventing your service model. So I'm going to actually break this topic into two, and we're going to come back in a few weeks later and look at the second part. Today I want to look at the efficiency, the script processing efficiency correlations. Then next time we'll come back and look at the customer engagement effective correlations. So picture, if you will, 30 different metrics, again, all in their own way related to engagement or customer effectiveness engagement and script processing efficiency. And picture, if you will, 120 pharmacies all measured in exactly the same way, so that for each one of those 30 metrics, we can rank every one of these pharmacies top to bottom. So number one performer in sequence all the way through to number 120 performer for each one of these metrics. So with that picture in mind, I want to introduce the kind of framework that I'd like to walk you through to draw out the messages from just a small number of all of the correlations that we run. And I want to start with the notion of one visit, one dispense, or as we call it, visit retention rate. This is the notion that is as simple really as the number of times or the frequency in which the customer stays in the store for the duration of the dispense versus leaves the store to go away and do something else, the shopping, the dry cleaning, whatever, and return later to pick up the meds. I'm going to put it to you that an excellent customer experience starts with the notion that there is an attraction and a compelling service offering that's strong enough that they actually want to stay in the store for the duration of their visit. So we're going to relate that concept to the various elements of customer engagement effectiveness in parallel with script processing efficiency, and then walk our way through to those the correlations between those behavioural aspects and the commercial outcomes, number of items added on and the value of those items. As I said, we're going to break it into, and I'm going to, for the remainder of my chat with you this month, look at the correlations on the script processing efficiency side. So again, top to bottom, 120 pharmacies rank from best performer to worst performer on visit retention rate. And similarly, the same pharmacies also ranked top to bottom in terms of the duration of script processing per script item. When we run the correlations between those two sets of data, same pharmacies, but the two particular metrics, we find that there is a strong correlation that reaches a statistical significance. So what? So we can say with some degree of confidence that you are very likely, if you perform well in high visit retention rate, to similarly be able to offer the customer the benefit of a streamlined and quick script processing experience. If we take a step further down that same pathway in our correlations and pick up on one of the metrics we've just correlated, being the duration of the script processing, and now run that metric or that set of data in that metric against the frequency in which we stop, start and rehandle during the processing, again we find a strong, or in fact this time a very strong correlation that reaches statistical significance. So what? So that tells us that if we can reduce our stop, start and rehandle during our script processing and practice a model based on straight through processing, then we and the customers are very likely to enjoy the benefits of quick and streamlined processing duration. And similarly, when we run the correlations between the duration of black space and white space, in other words, when we divide up the total processing time into black space time, the amount of time that there is actually manual processing and handling being undertaken, versus white space, that component of total duration processing time where the meds and the paperwork is sitting in suspended animation waiting for someone to do some black space work, again we find a very strong correlation. Again, this tells us that if we reduce our white space duration, then we are very likely to again be able to enjoy and pass on the benefits to the customer of a streamlined and short processing duration. I'm going to stop there and come back next month and pick up on the customer engagement correlations and just underscore the point this month that whilst those correlations and their findings may not surprise you, and they are kind of intuitive in a way, I think the point is that for the first time we now have a pool of data across our industry that can actually validate those assumptions and actually then start to go on and help us get started on defining best practices in those sort of script processing efficiency areas. So next month when we come back, we're going to do a same kind of journey and look for the findings and interpretations and recommendations when we're looking at customer engagement effectiveness correlations. So for now, happy script processing efficiency, and I'm going to come back next month to pick up on part 2. In the meantime, we're just a phone call away if you'd like to extend this conversation one-on-one, and I would very much look forward to that. Bye for now.